Look at that. We're live on The Lonely Tardis, your journey through Time Lords and space. I am one of your wonderful companions on this journey, Dali Demovsky. Joining me, as usual, Marcus Beer. Lovely hat, Marcus.
It's almost
And
as if we've
yeah,
not
I
just
mean,
rushing
Oh
from
God.
one
some
recording
time
into
has
another.
passed.
Oh,
Oh,
it moved.
it moved. The person with no hat but had he had a TARDIS on his head, Shaun Norton.
I didn't have a hat. I didn't get the hat memo.
Uh,
Much well, much like his head is also bigger on the inside. It holds all those brains, all that brains. There's a
Yeah,
lot of
nice
oh
brains.
save. Yeah.
goodness.
He's a handsome boy. All right, can
Takes
I
a lot
take
of
us off
brain to
now?
balance a TARDIS on your head.
We have pretended. That we're not recording these back to back. So I'm sorry to destroy the illusion.
I
But
didn't get
guess
that
what?
memo either. Sorry.
I'm
No,
wearing the same fucking t-shirt. So and I have more than one.
well,
All right.
yeah, sure you do. Welcome, gents. We're going to speak. I have a fly in my office. We're going to speak about we're going to speak about a musical episode known as The Devil's Chord. Wow, that was pretty good.
I was actually.
Was it Doctor Who episode 2 of season 1, series 1, The Devil's Chord, written by Russell T Davies, directed by Ben Chessel. To give a quick summary, the Doctor and Ruby end up in 1963, where they come to find out they went to visit the Beatles. Come to find out that music has gone and music sucks and nobody has musical talent. And it's up to them to find out why and who is behind it.
It's much like
Who
the current
is the
music scene.
maestro? Yeah, exactly. That who is the maestro, and the Doctor needs to figure out how to stop the maestro and bring music back to the world. And boy, does music come back to the world. Let's start with you, Marcus. What did you think in general of this episode? You were kind
In
of down on the previous episode.
well, I mean, like I said, the first episode, you have to watch that our
Watch
last
that.
episode.
Watch
So watch
that podcast app. Yeah.
I would say that this was like a 51-minute long episode, wasn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so about 41 minutes of this were absolutely bang on prime time return to form Doctor Who.
Hmm.
We had history, we had some celebs, we had a really
Okay.
interesting premise, and we had a baller bad guy, bad girl,
Yeah.
bad they in Jinx Monsoon,
Yeah.
who is, I just want to have Jinx Monsoon over to dinner because
Yeah.
absolute
Oh,
baller.
that'd be so
Um,
fun.
yeah, and the premise was really good, tapped into the giggle.
Mm-hmm.
There was that level of continuity, but then there was the last 10 minutes.
Let's get into
And
it.
for me, the last 10 minutes, I didn't need another fucking song and dance routine. When we had it in the giggle and we had Spice Up Your Life with the Toy Maker, that was great because it was a recognizable song, and it was, this guy who can warp reality, who was, just fucking with everybody.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It would have been nice if we had to have a musical number in this, if we didn't have to have another freaking original one, because let's face it, we had one in the Christmas special. We didn't need one today, but if they wanted to because it was a musical episode, then fair enough. But the one that happened, the one that it was stupid. But I'm going to throw this out with the caveat. Yes, I fucking hated it, but I'm throwing out the caveat that this might be bigger things at work. So this might be part of this bigger bad that we know is coming, because we know the toy maker said.
Oh, the toy
The
maker. Celestial toy maker. Yeah.
Toy maker said that the minions are coming. Obviously, if the minions tell me, "Hey, banana," that would be funny.
That'd be great.
Yeah. See, we could have done with them in Space Babies.
Yeah, that'd be. Oh.
Kevin, the babies are in the airlock.
Yep.
Yeah. So 41 minutes was just, I am so enjoying this.
Mm-hmm.
The maestro was scaring the pants off me. The way they worked the music was really, really good. They had and just the air of sadness of there's no music, there's no dancing. I mean,
Yeah.
that was palpable and that was glorious. And then they had to go and just go. But anyway, that 41 minutes of excellence was as great as Space Babies was poop.
Just poop. Okay. All right. Shaun, your just general thoughts about this episode, The Devil's Chord.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Good response.
It's pretty good.
Oh,
I thought it was a lot better than episode 1, so I'm in agreement with Marcus there. I did not hate the ending, like some people hated the ending. Now, granted, I was on a few edibles, so the ending might have hit me differently than it did some other people. But I rewatched it, and I came away with the same, kind of the same feelings, which is, I think I would have, I don't know, maybe I need things spelled out to me too much, but I wish I had gotten some context, like why that happened. Like, is that leftover maestro energy messing with reality? Is it just a goofy thing that, like, I don't really understand why the song and dance happened. So that kind of bugged me. I thought it was fun and frivolous and senseless and kind of completely out of left field for Doctor Who. But it does overshadow. It winds up being one of the main things you think about from an otherwise really solid episode.
Yeah.
I also, I don't know. Do you get the sense that maybe they up until the very last minute they were angling for the rights to a Beatles song and they couldn't get it and they had to rework some stuff? Like was that like the twist at the end that
that's the twist?
Like this, right? And then like when I would have thought that the Beatles together would have found the chord because it can only be found by a genius, and then together they were musical geniuses. But then they didn't really find a chord to any of the Beatles songs, I don't think. So, I don't know. It felt like some things kind of happened at the 11th hour to tweak this episode a little bit from maybe what their original intentions were. Really
Disney Plus money didn't stretch that far.
Yeah, I guess so.
Right, because then you got to deal with residuals and reruns and all, and the Beatles are batshit expensive. But yeah, aside from the weird ending, I quite enjoyed it. I thought the Maestro was a really cool villain. I was really happy to see how quickly they followed up on the Toymaker and tied him directly to him and tying into what's coming. Really well done. And once again, well, those are my general thoughts. I have more specifics, but go ahead. Okay. I'll just keep talking.
No, I'll say my general thoughts. I really enjoyed this episode from those. From what you guys are saying. I mean, I think the writing was really, really solid. I think hopping back and forth in time and seeing sort of the consequences of something that happened. I loved the idea that, Ruby's like, everything's going to turn out okay. I mean, I was born and let's go back to my time and I'll show you. And they go back to 2024, June or July. And they're like, yeah, it's in bad shape. And so, she asks how where she come from, and Doctor said, well, it was me. It must have been me, basically. So I thought that was really, really cool, really interesting. I like that this, the tie-in to the giggle, that's basically the Maestro's father, I guess, in a way, right?
That's what they said.
Yeah,
they said. And the way the explanation, I think that is kind of cool because then there's still there's some linkage starting to happen through that aspect, and I think that is cool. Usually we're just one and done with an enemy, but this in a way is two episodes with the same incredibly eccentric family, I guess you could say. Jinx Monsoon was terrific in this. I think they nailed it. I think I liked at first I thought the musical sheet music was kind of hokey, but then I'm like, you could make that. Some dude out there could make that and make that I mean, we already do crazy things with drones now. This would just be mini drones, and why not do musical chords? That'd be kind of fun. But there's definitely some fantasy aspect in this. and Google is
Speaking of,
over there. Yeah.
yeah.
And so I think it's it was really enjoyable. I didn't hate that last few minutes, the dance number. I thought that was okay. I just felt it dragged on for too long. Like I would have liked them to go through, maybe like a minute, and that's it. But I think it went on for like 4 minutes, so that was a little bit.
Felt like 10.
Yeah, I felt like
By the end of this episode, Mark is gonna be like, "It's 40
years.
minutes. The whole episode was a dance number."
Hold on 1 second. Hey Google, stop.
You could mute. I mean, you don't have to.
No.
All right. Yeah, see, that's fine. We can keep talking. Our devices aren't yelling at us, Marcus.
No, exactly.
I'll be back.
Although,
Talk amongst yourselves.
yeah.
Oh, he really did leave. His house is under like witchcraft.
Yeah. I did. Look, I liked how they did the intro, where they, Jinx started playing the piano, and it was do 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 do, and it segued into the.
Yeah.
That was cool.
Agreed.
Then we had, Jinx drop the giggle, and you could see the Doctor's face, like, oh, fuck a duck. It took two of me to beat one of these bastards last time. But
sorry, I just have to explain real quick. My damn Amazon and my damn Google are right next to each other, and I couldn't figure out which one it was. So I'm standing across the kitchen yelling at both of these to shut up, and they're both activating. Speaking of music going offline. Anyways, sorry, continue.
So yeah, there were a lot of really good bits, but as with that, the musical, the piano keys at the beginning that segued into the theme tune, cool, but a fourth wall break. We had so many fourth wall breaks. I expected Ryan fucking Reynolds in Deadpool costume to stick his head out of the dark and go, hello.
I'd watch that.
Because, Disney Plus now, I mean, that there's a Marvel crossover. There's going to be a friggin' Tardis in Deadpool and Wolverine. You just know it. But
sign me up.
So we had them in the Christmas special. We've had them in this one. I'm a little bit over the fourth wall breaks. But again, having done, looked around, seen some other theories, this may tap into what happened with the toy maker and what's happened since, and how when the toy maker mess with things, they really mess with things like a whole season. So as if the Doctor may not be in the universe that we associate the Doctor with. I mean, they obviously have talked about different dimensions, different universes. There was the, going back to Babies in Space, the line about Star Trek. We'll have to go visit them sometime when Millie talks about the matter transport is like in Star Trek. So I mean, there's things in there, and this may be the fantasy aspect. I don't know, but if this is all going to be building towards some sort of big bad, some big reveal that Doctor's not been in the right universe or whatever, maybe after he took off in the TARDIS after saying goodbye to David Tennant, he went off through a freaking wormhole. That would be interesting. But they've got to start building. They've got to start showing us a little more of that, as opposed, because Russell is great at building these big bads, as was Moffat, but they missed the landing so many times on a season-long big bad. I mean, Bad Wolf, it's fucking Rose. What? Why? I still don't even get the Bad Wolf. But yeah, the Pandorica opens. MacGuffin? I mean, there's potential, and we have 6 episodes left. I hope they start building that payoff. And if Moffat's one is next, and I haven't paid attention to the running order. I haven't paid attention to who's writing what. I'm just tackling them, each one as they come. I do admit it's gonna take a lot of getting used to watching this on at 4 o'clock on a Friday afternoon.
Yeah.
It's very strange because it means I have to be drunk all weekend now. But
Yeah,
yeah,
what a twist.
What a twist.
hey, I can't take it with me.
Sure.
So
I think for me, it's the breakneck speed again that a lot of this started to take on. You, you kind of miss the. I don't know. It felt like just pacing wise, we blew past some of the audio stuff and the music stuff that they could have done with the. And I have to rewatch it, but they could have done with the Beatles because yeah, they spent like a couple minutes with them to understand who they are, but then they sort of disappear for a while, and then they don't come back until the very end to save the day.
and they
Um,
kind of do it off
yeah,
screen.
they kind
I
of do it
mean,
off screen,
nice.
and
It would be nice to involve them more.
yes,
As a
exactly.
as opposed
Show
to
some growth for
yeah.
them instead of like they hated music all throughout the episode until the last like 3 minutes. They're like, oh wait, yeah, Paul McCartney. Oh, this sounds pretty good actually. I'll you know what? I'm gonna play this. And it's like, well, no, you could have been. They could have been anchoring this person in through weaving them in throughout this whole story and maybe putting a little bit of an inkling in them of them actually wanting to play music, but yeah, I think it kind of lost it there. But needless to say, I thought the Maestro is a fantastic villain. Definitely want to see them again in the future in some way. And I feel like what you said, I don't know, Marcus or Shaun, whoever it was, one of you two said that is this big dance number the all of the the pent up musical energy all
Oh, that was
spewing
me.
at once.
Yeah.
That was yeah, that was this guy, and I think it kind of probably was. It probably was all the musical because then they walk across they walk across the famous crosswalk and they're stepping on the white lines. They're making music like a big piano, and then it just kind of ends and they're back inside the TARDIS. So I
The
do
thing we
feel like
do
maybe it was
see,
the expending of energy.
I mean, there's always a twist in the end, and so the twist in the end was the Maestro's kid was not gone and
Yeah,
was in one of the
Oh, the
recording
Harbinger.
studios.
yeah, yeah.
Harbinger.
Henry Binger.
Henry.
Henry Arbinger.
Yeah, so was that the big twist? I don't know.
Hmm.
Can
Hmm.
somebody tell me, please?
Yeah, maybe.
Because again,
I
there seems to be a lot of mud.
I just feel like that's another big bad that they're going to. Maybe the third time is the charm. Maybe Harbinger. I mean, Harbinger feels like they're definitely going to be tying that in somehow down the line. But you had the toy maker and their child, Maestro, and their child, Harbinger. And Harbinger, maybe Harbinger is either the worst of the worst of the three in the family, or I don't know. I do have a feeling they're going to be coming back, which is really interesting. So,
Yeah, I think they portend. Uh, I'm curious if they're tied just to the Maestro
yep.
or if they're going to be ahead of every. I don't think we're done with these gods from outside the universe. It seems,
Hmm.
and Marcus, I don't know if you remember this from the classic show or not, but it seems
Yep.
like they're kind of setting up or revisiting the pantheon. Um, and all of them have come through now with whatever broke and brought the giggle
Hmm.
and the toy maker and the maestro in. So it'll be interesting to see if the kid shows up, if more of those gods show up, or if he's tied specifically to Maestro, who I also don't think we've seen the last of. My guess is either the season or the series finale is going to have all these gods together, and it's going to be universe ending or reshaping chaos. Because there's an offhand line that most of the universe is still gone after the floods,
Hmm.
which is kind of a thing you wouldn't think they'd have forever. Um, but yes, we're getting some really crazy reality bending enemies now with the
Yeah.
fourth wall
Yeah.
breaks and the
I
music
like
and
that. Yeah.
yeah, me too. Me too. That's the kind of stuff that if they're going to do the fantasy, I want to lean more into that. I know the ending was divisive, but the stealing the music and ruining the world and having all this power to just like the doctor was so messed up and psychologically scarred by the giggle and the toy maker, and he mentioned that his soul is ripped in two, which if we
Hmm.
take that literally, there goes a whole bunch of theories about the future doctor coming back or whatever. He ran away. Like, he ran away in terror. And not like in the first episode of Babies where he's like, oh, this thing it's weird that I run. Usually I meet them and talk to them and then run. This, he was just like, nope, can't fight it. Almost killed me last time. And that is a side of the Doctor you just never see. So it's interesting what kind of really big bads are being set up here.
Mm-hmm.
Following on the Christmas specials or the 60th specials. Plus, also, the Twist dance, while goofy, I think was also literal. Because Susan Twist keeps showing up in every episode.
Yeah,
There's always a twist at the end.
Yeah.
I don't know who she's being set up to be, but she's going to be... There's something there, too. So, yeah.
I think you're right with that, definitely. Well, I let's get into a couple of the individual performances here. I think, I think Maestro was terrific.
Absolutely, hands down.
They better bring them back into the series, and I do think I wasn't expecting such a musical. I guess I wasn't expecting to see the musical side out of Shooty. I kind of felt like he had it in him, but again, I loved his energy in this episode. I thought he was just really good. There's only one issue I'm feeling right now with Shooty's Doctor is that he'll be really campy and really full of energy, and all of a sudden it feels like he'll make a hard stop and get into something dark and something. I think there was one moment where he was kind of I forget what he was. Well, I mean, in the previous episode where he was explaining about not being able to go back to see, your mother. You can go anywhere you want; it'll be all great. You can't go back and see your mom. He has these sort of light and dark moments that to his character, and I wonder if that's partly writing, or I wonder if that's the way he's approaching telling the story as an actor. I'm not quite sure yet. I'm curious to see again how he finds his voice later on, because we know he's already filming, probably done with season 2 or almost done with season 2. It's something crazy like that, right? They're partly done.
I think they're about to do the Christmas special.
Okay, all right. I thought he was terrific from that standpoint. I'm just curious to see how he starts to balance the emotional aspect with the seriousness going forward. Bless you. But Millie, this wasn't like a focus on her for this episode. I think because we had such a loud and boisterous personality in the Maestro. Millie
Except for whatever magic music is inside of her.
Whatever magic
where she's super crazy special. Yeah.
Something, whatever. Yeah, exactly. The one song, the Christmas song. I think from that standpoint, the acting was pretty great, except for a couple. Yeah,
they've got great charisma together.
Yeah,
this just sealed it. But again, I have to nitpick the writing for her character.
Sure, yeah, I think it's more writing than anything else. Yeah,
yeah, and it's like it's not bad per se. It's just these time jumps where. Last episode, we talked about how she acted like she'd been with the Doctor a long time already. This episode, which is the only second time we've seen them, I guess they've been traveling off screen for 6 months on and off. Because it's now June or July.
Oh, yeah. Hey, you're right.
Yeah. No, they did, I mean, and that is something that Russell T. Davies has done from the get-go. I mean, unless there is an episode where it follows on directly, and he's had that cliffhanger at the end, and you know shit's going to go weird. They have always inferred, from the Rose Tyler days of these adventures off somewhere like, the planet of the Blue Beach and blah, 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 blah. So that I don't really have much of a problem with. I mean, the fact that it's a time jump from Christmas to June.
I think so you're right. And it's definitely established. I think the difference is, though, because it's done differently this time and we don't see the immediate knock. So what essentially is happening, and it bugs me, is that we're being robbed of the development of their relationship.
Yes.
Because it's all happening off screen. Or it's already being written where she just, boom, accepts him, boom, knows him, boom, knows how he's going to act.
That's that speed that I spoke about earlier. There's a lot of like,
you never hide, you never do this, you do that. It's like, what the heck? And you know that already? Like, that's awesome. Could we have seen that? That would have been great.
He did say that in the first episode. I never run, I never hide, I always go up and talk to the thing. And the booger monster had something in it that made me run. So he did say that in the first episode, to be fair.
Sure.
So, I mean, and look, I'm not defending it. I will say that I see your point on a lot of things. most of the time, if it's not Donna Noble, I really don't give two shits about the companions. It's called Doctor Who, not the companions, and I'm always reminded of that horrible time when BBC America prefaced the Matt Smith run with the Karen Gillan voiceover.
Oh yeah, that was funny.
And it's like, I know we're gonna have to, we've got 2 companions next season. That's going to be great. I mean, I'm looking forward to that. But yeah, the Doctor needs developing. We saw some good turns out of Shooty. The abject terror that you could see when he was giving that monologue about ripping his soul into. That was top. That's what I wanted to see. And honestly, if they hadn't have put that fucking song and dance thing at the end, this could have been the perfect counterpoint to Babies in Space. This could have been, you could have put a little bit in the end there of something joyous. I mean, when they had the whole, you could hear the music all over London, bum, 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 bum. That would have been a perfect capper for me because, all this music is back. But then he's talking to her, and then he's like, there's always a twist in the end. I mean, are they all puppets? I mean, is this it? Is this a simulation? I mean, is this the worst version of fucking Sim City or The Sims that you've ever seen in your life?
It's leading to something. It's
but it better give us.
But that's the problem, right? When you're leading to something, but you don't make it apparent to folks, like. We're going to get to this last episode. Maybe it was leading to something and it's something very cool. And we're like, okay, it all makes sense. You don't want to lose viewers per episode on the way there, right? You want to keep them engaged so that
Don't do what Lost did.
But I don't think. Yeah, I think Space Baby, in my opinion, obviously just one perspective. I think you run the risk a lot more with Space Babies losing viewers than you do a dance number at the end of this. Now, granted, for us hardcore geeks, we've been following along since last November. We know that he messed with Salt. We know that they continually say that the lines are bending between reality and fantasy in the universe. We know Mrs. Flood, was that her name? She winked at the camera. She broke the fourth wall. Maestro did it. The Doctor thought that the song was non-diegetic, which is, in the television only. Something is going on.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm willing to... I'm getting flashbacks to when we used to do this with Moffat. I'm willing to let it play out and see if by the time we get to episode 8, which only 8 episodes, this payoff makes it a lot more palatable to go back and watch the dance scene and be like, holy shit, that's why that happened. Oh my god, that's hopefully super amazing and creative and unlike anything we've ever seen before. And who knows, maybe these gods are coming in from another universe and they know that it could be super crazy. Like, we don't know. Maybe the gods know that it's a TV show. I don't know. But they could go off the wall with it and really go batshit. So we just got to see.
I agree with you, but I just got to say, don't give us blue balls.
I
mean, come on.
No,
but I mean, it's true.
Don't give us blue Tardis. Blue
Tardis.
There's
a 50-50 chance, man.
There's only so much foreplay we can handle. You gotta, whether it's above the shirt, whatever. But I mean, yes, I'm being quite crude there because I mean, that's my mentality. I'm British. That's what we do. But there's only so much ratcheting and, as you said, going down these alleyways until you need to draw us a fucking map or give us time.
Look at Capaldi's Capaldi's final year with Misty, right? With Missy, sorry. That was they were leading us to a path, and we knew they were leading us down a path, but they never gave us the blue TARDIS. Blue TARDIS is along the way. They told us every episode, it's like, oh, Missy is gathering her forces to. We know we feel like she's gonna be the master, but we know she's pivotal to this. We don't quite have that yet with these. Granted, it's 2 episodes, but they better start giving us some hook. Before too long, or else you may have people starting to kind of be willing to watch these out of order, which is never what you want to happen. You want to kind of see these in order and get the story and make sure you're hooked week to week. But once you start losing people, once they start missing, that's kind of an issue there. So
yeah. We'll have to see.
Yeah,
that's one thing we'll have to see. But
okay.
Speaking of ratcheting it up, we got to talk about Susan, right?
Let's do it. Let's do it.
Like, I mean, Marcus, that had to get your ears like peaked.
Yeah.
Susan Twist. Or
No,
Susan,
granddaughter.
No, the
oh no,
granddaughter.
when he was talking about the doctor's yard and everything.
Yeah.
Yes, I thought that
right
was
over there right now. Yeah.
that was a beautiful touchback. That was great. I mean, it's when they do, that's when they don't throw the baby out in the bathwater. I mean, and to go back and talk about Totter's Lane and Susan and Ian and that sort of stuff. I mean, that's why when we had the 50th special. Where we had that, it started off by mimicking the intro of the first episode ever, and we had the school, and we had Ian Chesterton as one of the governors, and that's always great. I will take that forever and a day, because I think, and this is one of the things that is really sucky for Doctor Who right now, is Doctor Who is spread out across 3 fucking streaming services in the US. Between BritBox having everything pre-Russell T, and then Russell T to the end of Chibnall being on HBO or on Max, and now Disney Plus with everything from Russell's return. It's so fragmented, and I will say that despite them putting a Tardis down in downtown Disneyland here in LA, which was obviously quite cool. I gotta say, for a company that's investing so much money in this franchise, Disney's marketing for Doctor Who has been fucking atrocious. If you look at it on the app, you look at that app and you look at the Doctor Who page, there's no connection there. There's no. The Christmas special and the previous specials should all be on one page. They should literally be focusing on, oh my God, he's this guy and now he's this guy. And if it comes into it where HBO, who are obviously divesting rights to everything right now under that idiot in charge, they're just shuttling stuff off. If those rights come up, get them onto Disney Plus so that you can actually go back and further, and you can have, it's like, this is your primer. Doctor Who is here, but it's also been here. You don't need to go back beyond that one, because back beyond Rose, because there are so many touchbacks in the last 19 years. Next year's going to be 20 years of Doctor Who being back. There's so many touchbacks, and people can then go back into the timeline and they can discover Tennant for themselves, or Matt Smith, or Capaldi. They could discover every single aspect. We could see Missy as the mistress. We could see Capaldi's final season, which was quite possibly my favorite Capaldi season ever.
So good.
Yeah.
So good.
And that ending, that final episode of the run was just, and I'm not talking about the Christmas special. That was a little bit bollocks at the end of the day. But I just think that Disney needs to buck up its ideas. It's all well and good having Shooty and Millie on Good Morning America. Like, anybody fucking watches that who'll be watching Doctor Who. But you need to just get the game in order and just really promote the shit out of this, and make sure that your page is a fucking hub. Where's all the Doctor Who behind the scenes stuff that the BBC has been producing this entire time from the specials on? Yes, I know it's narrated by a fucking Welsh idiot who's like, oh, here I am. I'm on the set of Doctor Who, I am. No, I mean, they've picked, it's like, my name is Yanto ap Sheepfucker, and I am from Wales, you see. And because it's filmed in Wales, they picked the Welshiest bastard they could. And I mean, this guy, I mean, he's probably a nice guy, but I just want to throttle him. But you've got all this stuff. You've got the behind the scenes. You've got the interviews. What have you got on the Doctor Who page under extras? The fucking trailer. That's it. And like I said, get everything together, everything in the and put every single bit of info on there. Educate and suck people in, because they're like, okay, I found that. So, okay, where's this rest of this Doctor Who? Oh, that's a different Doctor. What's going on? I'll go back and watch that special. I'll go back and watch Star Beast, and then I'm like, oh, okay. But I mean, Disney marketing, man, they couldn't organize an orgy in a brothel.
Oh,
sorry, went off.
No, it's all good.
I've been feeling this for a while. I've actually discussed this with some colleagues who know people at Disney Plus, and I said, like, look, I'm available. I'll consult the shit out of your app page, and I will make sure that you have everything awesome, and you have this as a moving forward.
They're super cautious marketers in general across all their major franchises, and I have to imagine they're just too trepidatious with the current rights agreements with Max and with BritBox and with BBC back on the other side. Plus, there was probably some part of the negotiation where, okay, well, so now we're airing this at 8 o'clock Eastern Fridays, so the Brits really, unless they're hardcore staying up, aren't seeing it until Saturday. So now they're seeing their show after the rest of the world. Maybe we hold back the content and give that to them as the extras, at least for a while exclusively. You're not wrong about consolidating for the U.S. market and the rest of the world, but I imagine until the streaming rights are freed up with Max and whatever they're going to do with BritBox, they're kind of stuck.
No, look, I don't know. They don't need to put the BritBox. The BritBox stuff needs to stay on BritBox because that's quintessentially British. But if the Max stuff, fine, that moves over. Great. If it doesn't, sucks. But here's my issue: you don't need to be releasing it on Friday night at 7 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 12 midnight. You do not need to be able to do that.
Yeah.
Why? Because it's a freaking streaming service.
Yeah.
Do what you did with the specials. Put them on day and date. They go live at 10 o'clock in the morning on the West Coast. Great. You didn't watch it live. You didn't watch it. You two didn't watch it the second it dropped.
Right.
I did.
Yeah.
And we had a dinner party going on in the yard, and I was like, "Sorry, I'm in the game, so I put my foot down." So yeah, this is my problem. The decisions that are being made seem to be prime Disney with regards to trying to screwing stuff up. But I mean, Disney are phenomenal marketers. The stuff they've done with the Avengers, the stuff they've done with Marvel in general, or Star Wars, or whatever, they do some really good stuff. And they know that they're dealing with hardcore fans of those two particular franchises. So why the hell aren't they doing the same for Doctor Who when all this stuff is, you know what, spend a little extra, commission your own. I mean, BBC America did that in the build-up to the 50th. They commissioned their own Doctor Who stuff outside of the BBC UK. So, I mean, come on. If you're betting on this, if you're investing in this, it's going to be on your network for ever and a day because you co-funded it. It's not going to Netflix. Own it. Push it. Pump it out there. And, I mean, my worry is that they don't have the faith in it. They've got they've seen the first season and they're like, what do we do with it? We don't know. And that is a huge worry because I don't know what the streaming figures are on Disney Plus because we probably won't get them. But if this bombs after 2 or 3 seasons because they can't market it outside of the UK and they can't market it to the existing audience because of all the changes, and they can't market it to a new audience because again their marketing's so inept. What is the future for Doctor Who? I'd rather go back to filming in a quarry in fucking Talabont than have all this green screen stuff if it meant that Doctor Who stayed Doctor Who. And I would much rather have a slightly smaller, little more niche sci-fi Doctor Who than something that is like, oh, at least we were creative and we swung for the bleachers and we failed miserably and Doctor Who's gone again. And the next time it comes back in 20 years, I will be, mulch and be long gone. I don't want to see it. I don't want to see it do that.
I will say one thing. I'm going to be very curious to see what these streaming numbers are, especially, in the US and in the UK, to really understand how these are coming across. As much as I'm interested in the UK's streaming numbers, because now you have streaming and you have the release on TV. I'm very curious, and we're not going to find out from Disney Plus, but I'm very curious to see in some press release down the line when they're getting in their quarterly financials what they say about Doctor Who, if it's brought anything to the service. But we'll wait and find out. But
they release them after 7 days, Dali?
Not Disney. I don't think Disney does. BBC does, but not Disney. We can discuss more of those numbers whenever they're available, but we're going to discuss the next episode at some point within the next week because we are now wrapped. But I want to ask you, how many musical chords out of 5 do you give this episode, Shaun?
4 with
Okay.
the caveat to change it up or down depending on how the rest of the season plays out.
I'm gonna say 4. I'm sticking with 4. I'm not changing it. I'm not gonna change it.
Okay.
Singular experience. Marcus.
I'm giving it a 4. It would have been a 5.
If it wasn't for
Yeah.
dance number. Okay. Good. Well, we hope you give it a number, give it a score. Feel free to shoot us messages on your platforms of choice. We don't even know. We're not on social media. I don't know what we are on. But you can find us at lonelytardis.com. You can find us at The Lonely TARDIS on Twitter or whatever it's called, and The Lonely TARDIS on YouTube. That's where this video and others, and the Facebook page also, right? We got a good Facebook page. Lots of folks chatting in there. With that said, thank you, Marcus. Thank you, Shaun. Thank you to all our wonderful viewers and listeners, and we'll see you on the next episode of The Lonely TARDIS. Woo! Ooh. There you go. You got the hat.